Hey y'all, it's your girl Dee, and I'm back with another video. I've gotta say, I'm really loving these bright colors on this camera, on the screen for you guys. It might mean I have to shop some more. But yeah, anywho, welcome back. I have been away for a bit, but I'm still more consistent than I was last year this time. So I'm very proud of me. I told you guys to be my accountability partner, but I told you as well that, life happens. Life is just lifing. Somewhere throughout this video, I hope I can get Ava on so that you can finally see my little noisemaker, my little person that's causing a lot of trouble in the background at times. Meanwhile, Aldo is really quiet. I have two doggies, Aldo and Ava, a boy and a girl. Ava, you want to come and show yourself? Come, Ava. Well, I promise you Aldo showed up first. Wait, come up. Very good. Wait, Aldo, wait. Let's do Ava first because she's the one that's causing problems. So this is Ava. Look at the people. Say hi, people. Say hi. I'm very loving and I'm really sweet. And I can't wait to meet you all. Right, Ava? Okay. Ava's convinced that she's going to have her own channel someday. Come, Aldo, your turn. And then this is Aldo. Ooh, Aldo. There we go. Say hi, Aldo. Aldo's a lot lighter than Ava, so yeah, so those are my doggies. So throughout different videos, you might see them, you might hear them. There you go. Ava said, I'm here. She might be making a song throughout the video, I guess. She's dropping a beat. But anywho, I wanted to hop on here because after the last... Come on, Ava. Keep the beat going. No, she gave up. In my last video, I spoke a bit about how I ended up here. A little bit. Briefly. My path was not a straight line at all. There were some bumps in the road. There were a lot of up and downs. There were a lot of moments where I felt as though maybe I just need to be content with a job instead of a career. Because as we are all well aware, money have to make. We need to make money to survive in this life. We need groceries. We need... Ava, can you please stop moving my ring light? We need groceries. We need to make sure that we have a roof over our head, food on our table, shoes on our feet, clothes on our back. And I had to really sit with myself and say, what do I want to be when I grow up? Now that question is so in depth, and it's a lot. It's a heavy question. And I've realized that recently I asked some of the kids that I mentor or just different individuals I come in contact with throughout my day-to-day. I say to them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to be? What do you want to do in life? And I find that is such a heavy question. So I've been thinking about it. And I've been thinking that maybe I should rephrase, because when I was asked that question, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I said what I wanted in that moment. And then there are certain people that are in your life that will make you feel as though because you said that one thing, one time, that's what you should do and your path can't change. And I think that was a little bit of my struggle as well. Right? So as I mentioned in my last video, if you haven't watched it, maybe you should pause this and go back to that last video. Because I was a talker, I was always told, you should be a lawyer. You'd make a very good lawyer. Because I always advocated for people, It just made sense. Now, when I was about 9, my sister was, she had a biology class at the time. And she had this textbook. And I was reading the textbook and I was like, oh my goodness. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an OBGYN. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And that was my dream, maybe up until 16. And this is because around 16, I would have taken that law society class in high school. But also at the time, I was realizing that science and me, we weren't as close as I thought we were, or as close as I wanted to be. You know, like when you think that you and somebody are close and they think that you think that you and them are friends, and they're like, oh no, you're my acquaintance. That was me and Science. I was like, me and Science are buddy, we're good. And Science is like, girl, you don't even know my name good. Like, you don't even know how to do physics that well, much less. Like, biology was good. Chemistry was a little challenging, but I still got good grades. But physics? Good God. I hated physics. And I can say that with my chest now. But I thought that this is what I wanted to do. Then I did the law class and I was like, ooh, maybe the people that were telling me that I should be a lawyer from back then were actually right. Anyways, because, you know, you finished high school and you have to apply to all these schools, and then you don't know where you're going to go because there are a lot of things that come into play. There's affordability. There's distance from home. There's, you know, the different programs. Which one do you actually want to do? And I've always had this practical side about me. I don't want to spend money or too much money if I don't need to. So for my first semester, which a lot of people don't know, I actually went to college. I went to George Brown College and I started in the ECE program, because even though I loved biology and I loved law, I also really loved kids. I said loved, I still do. But at the time I was like, maybe I should do this. In my first semester, I was doing great. And I always feel like if I'm excelling academically, it must mean that this is where I'm supposed to be, because my passion is there. Like, I'm getting the information, I'm retaining it, and I can reproduce it on a test, in a paper, whatever it is. So I felt like this was the place to be. But as many of you know, I am Jamaican born and raised. So there was a moment where we were doing practicum or placement, and I was at a facility downtown, because I was at the George Brown campus downtown, and I was in a daycare center. And I don't remember the exact name of the child, but let's say the child's name was Tommy. And Tommy was doing something wrong. So I said to Tommy, no, Tommy, like, don't do that. I was then pulled aside and I was told that we don't tell kids no. We ask kids if they would feel comfortable doing something else. So you provide them with an option. So, or you say, Tommy, would you like to stop doing that? And if Tommy says no, then we ask again. Now that was a little far-fetched for me, because I mean, I was still living in a Caribbean home. I was around a lot of Caribbean people where I really heard no, and it really worked for us as kids. So to hear that no was not a thing, it really shifted my view a little bit. But I said, okay. And I said, you know what? Maybe working with these North American kids isn't for me. I accept it because I believe in no, you know? So left that, and then I applied for social work. You guys are really getting into my business now. For a program for social work. And at the time I was like, yes, I want to be a therapist. So this was back in 2012, going on 2013. Yes. So 2012, full 2012. Got into school, started going, and then did 2 years in that program. And then after the second year, based off of this school, and I'm not sure if it's like all Ontario schools, but then you have to go to I had to go to my program coordinator, and there was this like exam that I had to do, because then they tell you if you would be a good fit in the field, if that makes sense. Something along those lines. I'm really trying to jog my memory. Also, I realized that in telling you the years, I'm telling you my age, if you're good with math. So that's shocking. Anywho, let's fast forward. So did this test, this paper-like thing, and I was told that my paper was too emotional, and because it was too emotional, I would not be a good fit in the field of psychotherapy, therapists, psychology, social worker, anything under that umbrella. It would have been too much for me because I wouldn't be able to handle it emotionally. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. Silly me. And I guess at that point too, you're very impressionable. You're listening to people who are in these roles. So I was actually doing a major and a minor. So in poli-sci, so I had poli-sci and I was doing social work because there was still that little pull towards law, you know? So I was doing the poli-sci. Anyways, finished, so dropped the social work after I was told that, and did this poli-sci human rights equity studies type of a thing, and graduated school now, and I felt like I really wanted to do this law thing. So I applied to a law school. I get into said law school. Here, what was the problem? The money. The money was the problem. I could not afford to go to law school. And I hope somewhere in here someone can make this be a testimony for them. It can be an encouragement, because sometimes we run down a profession that's not for us. Sometimes we be running down things that's not for us, and you can put that into whatever category you want it to be. You may be running down a relationship that's not for you, a career that's not for you, an educational plan that's not for you, anything. The sky's the limit. Some people are running down religions that aren't for them. But I think the one that may have hit home, you're running down that man or that woman that's not for you. Stop it. Or if you're realizing that the signs are all there that you shouldn't, don't even bother. So I was still running down this schooling. It wasn't for me. I couldn't afford it. So then I said, loophole, let's go to the college and do the law clerk program, because this way I'll get into the law firm. And you know, some law firms pay for you to go to school, all that stuff. So I was like, maybe they'll pay for me to go to school because they'll see my skill set. Well, family, TMI family, turns out it really wasn't for me. I worked in this profession. I did the schooling, and I've got to say, let me stick a pin. Every step that I've taken, even though it hasn't been like a straight path to this career that I'm currently in, it all added up. It all made sense. They were all stepping stones to putting me in this career. And looking back, hindsight 2020, you did good. So, where am I now? The schooling, did the law clerk program, started working in a law firm, and I was like, ooh, these lawyers don't have life, especially these female lawyers. The young ones, they have to go to work. Like, I mean, I was definitely Monday to Friday, but because lawyers have to meet a certain amount of hours, even on weekends, I'd come back and I would be swamped with emails that they would have sent over Saturday and Sunday because they're trying to meet their hours. And I was like, this is a demanding life. Now, don't get me wrong, it can also be very fulfilling. And to those who are lawyers, more power to you. And however you've done it and however your firm works, or if you have a practice of your own, I love it. I'm not speaking anything negative about that profession. I'm just saying it wasn't for me. And in that moment, as I was working in the space with these different lawyers, and it's in multiple spaces, I realized, yeah, this isn't where my heart is. This isn't where my passion lies. So I finished the program. I worked in the field, worked. And one day I was like, I want to do something different, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was talking to a friend, and this friend's like, Deandra, you've helped me so much. Like, I can easily talk to you. You should do this professionally. And I was like, what profession could I do where I get to help people, talk them through their problems and all this stuff? And then the thought came back of that professor, program coordinator, whoever they were, that told me that this job would be too emotionally straining for me and that I wouldn't be successful in it and all this stuff. So that started to breed some self-doubt. But a couple other people said it. But that first friend lit the fire. And it just so happened that COVID hit. And when COVID hit, my job at the time, they said, yeah, we no longer need your services. And I said, okay, then that's fine. Because I feel like, what was I doing? I was holding on to that profession that I wasn't supposed to be. It was giving me stress. It was stressing me out. I was not sleeping well. I was up early. I was working late just because I was trying to still meet the demands, and we were working from home. And what a trying time. But we made it over. So now that we're out of that, I apply to this program. I get into this program. Thank God. I am going through it, and it reminds me of my ECE program where things were coming naturally. It was, I don't want to say easy, but the effort that I put in, the work that I did, I knew that I was reaping the rewards. And then came practicum and everything, and I've really found my place. And that's basically what all of this go around, come round is to tell you, that I've really found my place. And basically what it feels like to be in your purpose and find your purpose and find your passion. And I know that some of you may be out there struggling or trying to figure out, what is my passion? What is my purpose? What am I meant to do on this earth? If you're really struggling to figure that out, maybe you should try meditating. Maybe you should try looking at a lot of the things that you have as skills that come naturally to you. Maybe you should contact some of your really close friends who know you enough to say, this is a skill that you have, and I like that it comes naturally for you. Or you're so easy to talk to that maybe you should consider this. Or you've been advocating for others, maybe you should do this. Or you're a very health conscious person. Have you considered being a dietitian or a nutritionist or anything along those lines? But I think that a lot of us get comfortable and we settle in certain positions, and there sometimes has to be a shift. Hey, that just tells us to get up and go, or get up and move, or we get put in those unfortunate situations, i.e. the job telling me, and then you have to figure out, what's my next step going to be? Because it could have gone another way. They could have said, and I could have been like, oh, okay. I could have sulked, I could have sat in it, and I could have been still living in it. And I didn't allow myself, or that comment that that person had made years before, to impact what I wanted to do and what I felt was my purpose in this moment. So that's my encouragement to you. That's my little story of how I got here. So when you are wondering, how did I get here? I could have sang it, but I chose not to. And you know, Ava's not killing us with the beats right now, so I had to do that on my own. But this is how I got here. So if your process and if your pathway is not straight, if it comes with some curves and some bumps in the roads, and in Jamaica we call them sleeping policemen, if up here them call them speed bumps. If they come with some red lights, some caution, some stop, some yield, take it one stride, one step at a time. You'll eventually get to your destination. And I honestly believe that you're never too old. I saw on Instagram that someone in their 70s just got their bachelor's degree. If you have a desire and a passion for something, don't allow your negative thoughts to hold yourself back. And that's something we can talk about in another session, because negative thoughts are very much so real. Negative thoughts have the ability to hold you back and change your perspective on a lot of things in your life. Don't limit yourself. The sky's the limit, and you can achieve it. So I hope you learned something in this week's episode of That's Just TMI. Something about me, maybe something about yourself. Maybe you were able to realize that I do need to let some things go. I do need to refocus. I do need to reframe my thought processing. We can get into some of that later. But always choose you. Ain't nobody gonna choose you better than you. Ain't nobody gonna love you more than you love you. So sort yourself out, do your pro-con list, figure out what you want to do, where you want to be, talk it through with someone. Sometimes that's the best outlet that you need. Okay? So we'll talk soon. Thanks again for joining. That's Just TMI, where we have taboo talks. Bye.